What happened to the classical Christmas wishes? A pair of socks, a sweater, an Xbox, or a car? But coming to the car industry, the Catena-X, the name was dropped a couple of times already this morning and right now. And I want to quickly shed some light. What is Catena? I was talking about Catena with a colleague yesterday, and he said to me, well, it's actually the fitness program for the automotive industry. I said, well, I use that today, so it's not on the slide, but I want to give credit to Niels Herzberg. He said, this is the fitness program for us as an industry. But what is Catena in general? On the right-hand side, you see a data chain, and this is what we're actually building. We build long data chains enabling our use cases. So why? If you look at our industry today, semiconductor crisis, COVID-19, CO2, circular economy, all those problems cannot be tackled in a peer-to-peer way. If I would talk to Michael Jochem, yes, you know what I mean, my colleague from Bosch, say, give me your data. He says, yeah, right. BMW, you want my data? No way. And then I can get his data, but it doesn't solve the CO2 issue. I cannot create processes that connect circular economy over a long run to second tier, third tier, OEM, and going down the chain. So we need data chains, and that's Catena pretty much. Catena is Greek and Latin and stands for chains, and we want to build long data chains to create value. The focus on what we do is pretty much a delivery organization. We're not writing standards, we're not discussing, we are writing code. We see ourselves as a delivery organization who wants to bring that code within 2 to 4 months into the organization. Says, I have a problem, and within 2 to 4 months, we want you to utilize it. That's our mission and our breakthrough target. I think the interoperability is a key element because, as you can imagine, building a CO2 chain, taking that example again, you cannot have only one party offering an application. You need multiple parties along that data chain to interoperate with each other in order to exchange the data. That's key. And for us, the last point is really to support the user. It's not an IT solution, it's a business solution. So we have to make sure that the people in business can use it, can adapt to it automatically, and that the planner in quality or material flow can use Catena on their daily routine on their desktop. So we boost the automotive industry today, and we could generate new value pools in the future. And why are we standing here now as Catena on a Gaia summit? Because we need you. Without Gaia, Catena will not work. That's the critical path. We need both of us. I would be frank to say you need us to show that what your idea is generates value, and we need you as a trust anchor and a governance body in the European Union today. These are, as Boris said this morning, the European values that stick, that we want to use globally. So I think it's a perfect symbiosis that we can both work together, and I think with Pierre, we had the last 3 months, we had an intense discussion in order to really see, can we be Gaia ready? Can Catena be Gaia ready? What does it take if we want to industrialize? And I think the key element for us is it worked. So thank you to Pierre, who's on the phone right now, but I think he will look at it later on the video. With credits or credit were due. I think for us it was key with Sharon and Pierre to really put both teams together and say, okay, the Gaia team and the Catena team for the last 3 months worked in the task force mode in order to see, can we work together and make things stick and work it out, and we did, because you have mutual targets, mutual principles, and we got it, we muscled ourselves through. So to give you a glimpse of our architecture, so we had the trust anchor from Pierre before already, you see it, we will have multiple and a decentralized approach, operating companies. Everything what's green on here will be open source. So we have the Eclipse data space connector we will use. We have broker services, network services that connect our industry. All of that will be put open source because we believe within Catena, with our member groups, the only way how we can find trust and scalability is open source in that environment at the heart of our network. And on top of that, every provider, of course, then can build the application that makes differentiate them as an SAP, as a Siemens, or whoever's out there. So for us, open source is key. The self-description is key. The SSI was name dropped before. SSI, it's on our roadmap. The question is, when is the industry ready to scale it out in large scale? But it's on our roadmap as well. So we try to really industrialize, if I want to use that term, what's out there right now. And if it's not ready, we take in the next release. Because we release every, let's say, 10 weeks. We work in a very agile framework, and we in a 2-week sprint basis, and we generate code. If it sticks, it's great. If it doesn't, we'll do it again the next sprint. So we are really a delivery organization. To give you a benefit or a quick insight on one of the use cases, I used CO2 before. This one is circular economy. You probably all heard of that a lot of the material we use ends up on a dump yard, which is a huge waste of everything, of resources, of money, whatever. And if you look at this left on this loop, we resource 100%, and at the end, it gets from a tier 1 to M, dismantler to recycler. We recycle not even a middle-digit number, one-digit number. So 5 to 7% are really recycled. The rest is really waste. What we want to do, or why is it like that? Because those guys, recycling companies and end tiers, there's no connection. How can they interact? With Catena, with our platform, we make ways that suddenly business owners who have no way to interact today can interact with each other and create new value pools. Close the loops, that it's a consistent cycle, as on the right-hand side. You can see in that we all can interact and make those value chains thick, long, and profitable for all of us. And without a business need and without a business proposition, there's no need to do anything. And for us, we have a lot of companies behind that to really see that benefit. Before I announced that, okay, it was now too quick. And it's not just that a BMW or Siemens or Bosch, ZF or T-Systems who is out there are using Catena. For us to make the data chain stick, it's really important that it's not about the big guys in the value chain, it's about the small and medium enterprises as well. And that's why within Catena we made sure that we have the relevant players in there. And for this use case, we had a little demo with the LRP. It's a recycling company in Germany. They're very motivated to do so, but they're 15 to 35 people, and they're in the business of circular economy. But now I would like to show a video what's in for them having Catena on their side.
LRP is market leader in vehicle recycling in Germany. We dismantle and recycle around 14,000 vehicles every year. As a member of Catena-X, we develop future standards of circular economy together with our partners. With Catena-X and Gaia-X, we create a cross-industry international marketplace for circular economy. This creates future businesses across the entire value chain of the automotive industry that offers huge ecological and economic potentials. For the first time with Gaia-X is this possible in a sovereign and interoperable way. We are looking forward to shape this future with you. Thank you.
And so for us, we strongly believe if we do not get all parties in the value chain, from outfitters to adopters and users, small to large, on the same side, our idea of building a data-driven value chain and data economy will not work. So that's why everybody has to see that value proposition. I think it was key that everyone sees it, and this is a strong testimonial. So who's Catena? If you look at it, you see Catena probably on many slides. Actually, when you hear Catena, it's 3 pillars. The first one is a development consortia, which is funded by the German government right now. There are 28 players, and some of the names already dropped, but we are 28 players. We call it the workbench. The second step is the association. Right now, 62 members, and we will get to them in a second, this is the standardization body, the governance body. For example, also where the trust anchor will be suited in the future, where we have that body in place to standardize, certify, and gain the trust, and also attract new members to help understand Catena, put the vision out, etc. And the third pillar is really having a decentralized operating company environment, where we see if we develop something, if we govern something, it doesn't create value yet, we have to put it into the market. It's a decentralized ecosystem with operating companies, and you will see them probably popping up like little mushrooms in middle of 2022, right? So, but who's Catena right now? I think we talked about that. It's a growing network, international and cross-national. So right now, the development consortia you see on the left, we have Boris in there, we have the DLR, we have the T-Systems colleagues we already mentioned, but also we talked before about how can you make this thing roll out. It's open source in the heart. However, we looked at the beginning that, for example, at BASF, Henkel is on board because their business is 15 to 20% automotive, and we want to make sure that it works for them as well, and that they can use Catena as an open source, as a blueprint, also for their industry to roll it out in the future. And I think that's a key element to make business grow, that it's not super focused on just works for me, that it works for many, because you want to connect the data spaces in the long run. On the right-hand side, you see the association is growing. We have international members now with Asahi Kasei, with Ganser, with Vallejo, with Stellantis. We have parties that grow outside of Germany, because that's the main question. Is it a German thing? It is not a German thing. It started in Germany because it's government funded, but we are growing internationally, and that's our global target. We want to go left and right and up and down on the hemisphere from the German market. But we have to start somewhere, and that was our nucleus. But we're growing fast, and I think that is the key message. So I had a very strong target to stay in 15 minutes, and I think, Vasilia, I think we can meet that target within 15 minutes. What I want you to take home with you today is we are a delivery organization. We're creating code. We already have the first 1.5 sprints behind us. So we already have 2 strong demos. We have the proof of the pudding. We have the data space. The connectors are in place. We have the basis with Pierre that we are Gaia ready. So we are on the good track in order to meet our target in the mid next year to be Gaia compliant, including the labeling. I think that is a strong argument what we would like to use as well once we can further understand what is in there, but we want to be labeled and the services. So look out for us. We want to create value with you, and we need both of each other. We need Gaia, and we would like to be your delivery organization to create value. Thank you very much.
Oliver, before you go down, we have a number of questions. It seems that you're triggering a number of questions. So this means that we had a great presentation just now. So the first question is the following. Is Catena-X limited to automotive partners only?
At the beginning, I would say we are focused on the automotive industry and their direct and indirect partners. So look at the Siemens. Are there automotive partners? Yes, for example, providing tools and assembly lines, but they scale also otherwise. So at the beginning, we start with the heart of automotive, and then we scale out further. And because of the blueprint, as I said, it's all open source. Once we have the operating system there, we would love for you to contribute, take it, run with it, and make it your own.
So let's say that I'm someone that is interested to join Catena-X, and I would like to build use cases. How do I do that?
I think that's a very good question. So far, we're building 10 use cases with Catena. This is our breeding ground to show the breadth, what you can do, and lay the foundation. After that, every other company can come into the workbench, what we call it, and say, we would like to contribute to Catena and either adapt the use case, and as a company, I would like to have also a CO2 use case. I'd like to use your open source components, your data models, your interfaces, and do my own application. Or you can also start your own use case, of course. So the idea is come to the association, which is the governance body, and then we guide you through the process.
Oliver, do you really see building a data space in the automotive being very different from building it elsewhere in a different domain?
If you were to ask me that question in 2 years, I probably can tell you there are not too many data spaces out there yet. But I would say the basic principles are always the same. And the question is, what's the differentiation within the industry? So that's why we also abstracted in our delivery organization. We're right now building an infrastructure enabling layer, and on top we built the automotive industry specific layer. Everything what's on the enabling infrastructure level I would say it's pretty much gut feeling right now, pretty much the same, and should be little by no adaptation needed in order to scale left and right. Semantic models, this is a different kind of animal when we want to connect, but we have to get to that. But basic message, I would say we are more like, if you want to. The question is, can you put our political hats down and says, I don't want you, I want my own thing. And it's really a matter of also for us as Gaia and Catena. Look at us, 28 companies within Catena. It's a little bit more complicated with you. We have only 22 members, but 28 are also pretty much the same level. The question is, do I want to, or do I want to not? And for us, we have a clear target that we want to be a delivery organization that unites us. We have a clear target that we would like to put this thing in code and deliver next year and the year after. That unites us, and then we put politics aside. And I think this is something that I value, that we generated that motivation and mission over the last 6 months within Catena. And I think this is all what it takes to find the right objective, that you get the people behind it, and put the politics and the egos aside. Because 28 strong automotive companies with 100 years of heritage, believe me, it's not an ecosystem, it can be an ecosystem.
On something else, can we actually confirm that Catena-X is like short of a data platform for the automotive market?
Can you repeat that question?
Yes, can we actually confirm that Catena-X is like sort of a data platform for the automotive market?
I understand most of it, except it's short of.
Yeah. So
Sort of.
is it short of?
No, sort. It's sort of. I'm sorry. Short means we're lacking something. I got it wrong.
Are we?
That's why I'm just asking. Okay. It's about data exchange, and that's, I think, what we all asked or said before. It's about data exchange. It's not a data pool. So everything is decentral wherever it's appropriate, but we also look at the business value. How much is decentral? What's central at this point? But it's an exchange. It's a data exchange, but it's not a data marketplace. So if I were Siemens and I says, hey, BMW, can you sell me your data? €2.50. No, I want €3. We're talking about use cases. It's not monetizing data. It's really about creating value through use cases. So monetizing data in our industry, we tried that in the last couple of years. It was not so, we were not ready, let's put it like this. And that's why we do not focus on monetizing data. We're trying on using use cases that generate value in our ecosystem. All right?
We do have a final question. Are you up for it?
Absolutely. I have 11 minutes and 50 seconds left.
Okay. So you said that Catena-X is going to adopt the Gaia-X labels. What value do you see in labels?
I think it's a matter of trust. There are so many services out there, and there are so many things as a user, I do not know if it's good or bad. And does it comply with my standards, what I want? And I hope for the labels that they give orientation for those who use it, that we have an easy way to interpret the labels, that it's not 50,000 different labels on every little service I have, that it's a clear thing. If I put my data here or there, I know I have, I would say now, security level medium high or compliant with the European GDPR or what's called DSVGO in German. Yeah, make it easy. But I think if you put my data here, I know it's a certified trust level that would be perfect for an operating company. And I hope if it's easy that people see it as a value what we can generate over a certification.
Oliver, you collected already so much experience, one of the first. What can you tell the other use cases? And we just learned before from Boris, we would like to get rid of that term use case to become real business cases. You mentioned already a lot, but how can we motivate around the world use cases to become business cases to reach that scale that you just explained to us?
Well, let me quickly be the oracle. No, I think for us it was really those use cases were also on the table for the automotive industry over the last 10 years or 5 years. And why did it take so long to kick them off? Because we needed a crisis. At the automotive industry, we needed COVID-19, we needed a semiconductor shortage, and we needed regulatory requirements in order to put our heads together and says, we cannot solve it alone as BMW, as Mercedes, as Bosch, whatever it is. It took us a lot of rattling and exogenous pressure factors to say, we need a shared service and we have to collaborate in a different way. And for us, that's really the honest answer. We were shook and woken up by some drastic events. And I hope that you do not have to go through the same learning curve as we did. That's my advice. Okay?
And one final question.
You said that 3 weeks ago.
I know, but this is how it begins. I'm a woman. So is Catena-X going to be a German-only project?
Definitely not. I think if you look at the last slide, and I think we're super proud of that, and you will see more coming in the next probably 4 to 6 weeks. We're growing internationally. So we have companies from France joining, we have companies from Japan joining, and I think this is really the important element that we are not German, we are Italian, Francesco, hey! Yes. So. Look at our global value chains. If it goes upstream or downstream, they do not end in Salzburg to the border of Bavaria or in Flensburg to the border of Denmark. They go, there's these systems. We go in every country of the world. And I think this is something where we need adaptation and acceptance. And this is what we have to carry out and say, these are European values that also help you in Japan, that help you in France, and help you in Tunisia or wherever you are, or in North America, and in Italy.
Can we please give a warm applause to Oliver, because he absolutely rocked it.